please join me in welcoming Holly Buchanan to the KEY5 stage.
In 2007, 7 words changed my life. I was working for a startup in New York. I was like employee number 2. I was one of their very first consultants. Over the years, the company grew like gangbusters. We had over a dozen consultants. One morning, my boss called us all into the conference room and said, "Great news. Because we're growing so fast, we're creating a new position, the head of consultancy, to help you all out." And he said that we gave that position to a colleague of mine. After the meeting, 2 of my consultants came up to me and said, "We can't believe that position didn't go to you." Well, my boss called me into his office that afternoon, and he sat me down and said, "Look, we totally considered you for the position." And then he said those words, "But we didn't think you wanted the job." So first, it's the deer in headlights. Then it was the golden retriever head tilt. I'm going, oh? Oh? Like, how could they think I didn't want this amazing leadership opportunity? Well, in the conversation that followed, I learned something incredibly important. There was a disconnect between how I saw myself and how management saw me. What was going on there? This led to a decade of research because I was losing credibility and I didn't even know it, because I didn't understand the lens through which management was viewing me, my communications, and my behaviors. Why is this important to everyone? If you are a consultant and you want to get your ideas taken seriously, if you are a salesperson and you need to win trust, if you are a parent and you want to motivate a teenager, you need to understand the lens through which they are viewing you. Now, what affects this lens? Well, in my research, I found a couple of different things. One is the life experience of that person. Another is, in my 2 books, I talk about the 4 decision-making styles and how you win and lose credibility with each style. That makes a difference. It's also affected by stereotypes. So let me give you a couple of examples. I attend a lot of sales and marketing webinars, and I notice that they rarely start on time. Like, what's up with that? Well, most of the presenters are what I call the take action decision-making style people. These are the type A's, the extroverts, very busy. So until their watch goes off at 3 o'clock and says, time to get in and sign in for the webinar, they tend to sign in a little bit late. So presenters are waiting for people like themselves to sign in. But there's another group. These are the think-it-throughs. These are the very detail-oriented, very organized people. And they get everywhere early. They're very punctual. So your think-it-throughs are standing by the door, like, we're here, we're ready to go. We've done our job. And when you start late, you instantly lose their trust. So I talked with a very successful webinar sales guy. And he said, here's what I do. I sign on 15 minutes early. And I welcome each of these think-it-throughs as they show up and say, thank you for being early. And then he starts on time. His sales went up exponentially by understanding that lens through which they were viewing him. Another example, I know a female financial advisor, new to the business, young, attractive, and her job is to sell annuities. Well, I saw her present to a room full of men, and they were all kind of elbowing each other, going, yeah, you know, she's getting by on her looks. Well, she said something that made every man in the room sit up and take notice. She said, I was in the military, and my job was to repair helicopters. Well, all the guys were like, wow, because she broke through that stereotype that she was a lightweight. So what can you do to understand that lens through which people are viewing you? How are you winning or losing credibility? There's an incredibly powerful question that you can ask. I want you to find someone who knows you well, who you trust, and give them permission to give you an honest answer. And ask them this question. What assumptions do people make about you that are not true? Give them a chance to answer that question. Because what you will find out are what are some specific things that you are doing that may not be coming across the way you want them to come across. Once you do that, when you have that information, you can make simple changes so that your ideas will be taken seriously. You can win more credibility. You might even motivate a teenager.